Hello, my crafty friends. Today we're going to make a pocket. Well, we're going to actually make two. I've got three examples here to show you of different sizes that you could make these pockets. And it depends on the size of your envelope. So you can use any kind of envelope you want to do this. You just have to have two of them. And here's one that's made from this size envelope. And these are 3 by 5.5. These are 3 by 5.5 to make that will make an envelope this size. So the envelope itself, the pocket itself, will end up being 3 by 4.5, 4.5 tall and 3 inches wide. Now that'll hold a small tag. It won't hold a real big tag, but it's a cute little pocket, so it'll fit inside something small. This pocket will pretty much take up a whole page in most journals. It is a little over 4 inches wide and a little over 7 inches tall. But the envelopes themselves are pretty long envelopes. They're 9.5 inches long, these envelopes, by just barely over 4 inches. So these are pretty long. They're a little bit longer, I think, than your standard business envelope. But that'll make a pocket like that. So you can tell there's a huge difference between these two pockets. But if you want to make pockets out of something like these are the kind of envelopes that you fold a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper in half, and it fits in here, like for big birthday cards and things. And it'll make pockets this size. And that is 5.5 by 6.25. The envelopes themselves are 5.5 by 8.5. So how you do it, what size pockets you end up with depends on the size envelopes you start with. Now, if you do it like this, it's a very sturdy pocket. And that's good. But sometimes that might make your pocket too fat. By the time you stick stuff in it, you might decide that's just too much paper. It takes up too much space, thickness-wise, in your book. And some of them feel, the bigger they are, the thinner they feel. But these little bitty ones, they feel really fat. And I think that's because of the size of the envelopes, for one thing. So I want to show you something you can do to make it thinner. So you can do them just like this, and you can do everything that I'm going to show with these. And the way you fold them, the way I fold them, is I take it and I fold it up, and I see, okay, I want to have about this much space between each of my pockets. So I fold it up to that point. And then I take this envelope and I put it in on this one so that I leave that same amount of space there. And when you do that and you fold it up, you automatically get pretty much that same amount of space right here. So that makes them pretty even. And that's how I did all of these. I started with one envelope and I decided I wanted that much space. So I stuck it on this envelope where I had that much space and then folded up the bottom. So it's a real easy pocket to make. Its only downside is that it's very thick because you've got this whole envelope here. So I'm going to set these two aside, and we're going to work with this one because it's darker. I think it's easier to see. So what you need to do here, let me just show you this first. I was going to show you later, but this is one of those flip out books that I made earlier, and I kind of showed them to you, but I went ahead and put this one together during the live stream that we did. And so I just put paper and stuff on the back. Now this particular one, if you wanted to, you could put pictures in it, photos in it, just like this. But if you wanted to write in it, you would need to add some paper to write in, or you could journal on some of these papers like they are. But some of them you would need to add something. But it just folds up like this, and I just put lace at the top So I decided not to actually put tags in this one. I kind of like it just like this. But this is another way to decorate one of those flip out books. I just thought I'd show it to you since I had it sitting here. Okay, find a place to put it. All right. Now, if you want to make these envelopes, but you don't want them to be this fat, I mean these pockets. I gotta get my terminology straight here. Then what you want to do is you want to glue the envelope shut, but you don't want to glue in here so that you end up sticking it together. So you just want to glue it so that it's double, okay? Because you want each one of these to be a solid piece. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this way, and then I'm going to show you a shortcut if you know you want it to be thinner. But when I was first doing this and I folded these up, I thought about making them thinner later. So if you've got one and you've already sealed it shut and folded it like you want it, but you decide it's too fat, too thick to go in your book, then you just put the envelope in your cutter, and you want to take off just a little bit on each side. But you want it to be even. Sometimes envelopes are not exactly, when you put them on their side, they're not exactly flush here. Now there we go. Okay, now then you can come here and you can trim it right there. And the same thing here. You can use scissors to do this too. I just don't cut as straight with scissors as I do with one of these. Okay, so now then I've got two pieces. Now, because I didn't think of this in advance, if I hadn't folded it yet, I could just fold these two pieces the way I folded the two envelopes and make a pocket out of them that way. But I didn't think about that in advance, so I went ahead and folded them both. So we're just going to use them and make two pockets. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the sides off here and the ends. I don't know about all cutters, but this particular cutter works 100 times better if I always start from the top. I'm not sure why, but it just does. If you figure out something like that about your cutter, it sure is handy. Okay. So now we've got, and you can use your bone folder. I have one, but I'm just using my fingernail because it's handier. Okay. So then we can take this and we can tuck it like that. And we've got the same pockets, but they're not as thick, so they'll fit better in our book. Now, before you actually put them together, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to go ahead and put a mark here, because you don't necessarily have to put your patterned paper all the way down. You just want it to go past this mark where you've marked. That's where the top of the next place is. Well, I didn't do a very good job marking that one, did I? Anyway, when you decorate them, you want to make sure your decorative paper goes down below that line, but it doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom. That saves you on decorative papers. So that's so I just do it like that. And then I take them apart here. First I want to find what kinds of papers I want to use in them, things that will kind of go together. And okay, I know I had some, yeah. I'm gonna cheat and use these. It's not really cheating, but it does keep it thin. So if you've got some digital printouts that you can, you know, just print off and use, and it doesn't have to be digital. I bought these. I ordered these from AliExpress, but you can get digital ones. But if you just find something, and if you want it to cover up the whole envelope, then you just turn it in a way where it will do that. I kind of like leaving a little bit of the envelope showing. I like that look. So, so I'm probably not going to, and I kind of even like it. Let's tear it across the top here a little bit. And you don't have to do this. You can do this as square as you want it. I just kind of like the combination of torn edges and squared edges. And our envelope has very squared edges, so I'm going to kind of tear across the top. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it down here a little bit. Ooh, that was really bad. Talk about crooked. Goodness gracious. Okay. We're gonna try this again with a piece that I didn't cut so terribly crooked. Okay, we're gonna do it like that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and glue it down over the whole thing so it'll fold up underneath, and it'll look a little more finished, I think, down there if we do it that way. You don't have to. You can just put the square straight on the envelope, but well, really, I can't do anything straight tonight. I really can't. This is ridiculous. Sorry. If you've never had to struggle with getting things straight, good for you. I have to struggle with that quite a bit. So if you do have to struggle with that sometimes, you know exactly what I'm feeling right now. And I do want to go ahead and kind of make sure that's glued down fairly good. Okay, now I'm going to refold it back where I had it folded before. And there's that one. And now I want to do something up here. I kind of like that. I've got a bunch of different ones, so I think those birds would be cute, but they're actually too big. Part of the bird would be cut off, and I don't want to do that. So now we could have the owl, and he could just go down inside if we decided we wanted to do that. But I don't really want that either. Okay, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and tear across here. I can save these scraps and use them for something else. And that will make, if I put that on here, then those little toadstools are going to show up right there. I like that. So that's what we're going to do. Let's move that one out of the way. And Let's just go ahead and tear it right there. Save that. Okay. Now, I do this all the time too. So here's another mistake that I made that if you're watching me, maybe if I tell you what it was, you won't make the same mistake. I like to ink my edges, but I didn't ink the edges on either one of these papers. And I'm just going to call that okay. I'm going to ink around the pocket itself, so maybe that'll help it not be such a big deal. But there's those two. So then I've got these two that I need to do as well. Now, one thing I could do here is I could just go ahead and use this other part of that first one, and that would make the colors all kind of come together, and I think that's what I'm going to do. That'll be pretty it wouldn't work for tucking it under the bag, but it'll work fine for this. Okay, I'm going to see if I can do it more even if I do it this way. Okay. So there we've got that. So now I need one more, and I want some kind of coloration. Well, I could even do this. Let's see if I can tear it just a little bit more straighter, and I'd stick it right in there. Might as well. I think that's what I'm going to do. That way the colors all go together. So, all right. I should have put some paper out here to glue on. A lot of things I should have done different than how I'm doing them. Okay. Okay. I'm going to pause just a second and clean the glue off this. Okay. So now we've got our four, it can be either a 3-tier or a 4-tier pocket. Most of my journals, unless you want the tag or whatever that's in this pocket, unless you want that to stick out of your book, most of my journals are not big enough for you to put something inside that back one. So I would probably just glue the whole thing down. But it depends on the size of your journal and the size of your envelopes. You could put this together, and then you could just glue around the edges so that you make that a pocket as well as these 3 pockets. Okay, now I'm gonna ink the edges before we glue it together. And I'm gonna use this this Ranger Sepia archival ink. It's a good color. It goes with everything. Let's go ahead and now, one thing you could do is put it here and just ink like that. But I think if you don't go ahead and ink down in here, you may end up regretting it. So I'm just going to ink the whole thing, and then I don't have to worry about, did I do enough inking or did I miss a spot? Okay. Excuse me. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Not going to bother inking the bottom there, because that's definitely going to be tucked inside. But I am going to go ahead and ink these edges in case they peek out. Sometimes when you glue things together, they do peek out, so. And then you can look at it and say, oh, you know, that spot isn't as inky as the rest of it. I'm going to go back and do some more. Okay. Now then, what I'm going to do to make it easy is I'm just going to put some ink here. Some glue here and here. You want it close to the edge because you want to make your pocket as big as you can. And lay it down and just press along the sides. Okay, now then we want to just do our glue right here. And we'll press it down. And then again right here. Okay. So that's really a pretty simple little pocket to make. And if you do it, you know, you can do it out of one envelope. If I had thought about cutting the envelope in half first, I could have just used one. Of course, now I have one that I can do another one. So, and you can, you know, decorate them however you want. You could put some lace on them. You could put fabric on them. You could draw or doodle. I think doodling on each pocket a little bit different would be, I think that would be fun to do a doodle one. But anyway, try making some pockets. Now you don't have to make, you know, you don't have to make a 4-tiered pocket, but this particular way of doing it, that's what happens. It makes it, you know, 3 tiers in the backdrop, or you can, the way you glue it in, you know, just around the edges, can make that into a 4th pocket. But that's pretty simple way to do it. Now I'm sitting here thinking, I kind of think it would have been fun to corner around all of these edges. Let's just see what that would have looked like. I didn't think about that until just now. Okay, you could just do a corner around, use a corner rounder on the top one if you want to, but I think it might look nice to do them all. I like that. Let's just go ahead and do this one. You've seen it. If you don't want to watch me decorate this one, you don't have to. You can just go right on ahead and because this is exactly the same pocket. I'm just making it with rounded corners. I'm going to go ahead and ink it real quick, and then I'll find some papers to put on it. But basically, the only difference is going to be the rounded corners. I'm going to make it pretty much the same as the other one. but I kind of like the difference between the two, so we'll and I'm going to go ahead and use paper on this one just because I've got these papers already sitting right here and it'll be faster. But this is basically what the pocket will look like. And it would be fun if you put especially if you put your papers in like I did here, then to do some faux stitching. So I think I'll do that on this one. I'll also do some faux stitching. So this one will have two things that are different about it than that one. But already this one looks a little bit dressier maybe. I don't know how to say it, but just two different styles. Okay, let's see what papers I want to use on this one. I kind of like this bird. Let's see if we can find. I like that one. I kind of like the numbers. And I kind of like the idea of having them where they're not exactly alike, you know, color-wise, so you're mixing the colors. Let's see. Oh, that one's kind of pretty. I like that one. That one would go real pretty on here. There's a bird. But once I take that bird off, you know, if I'm only using this much of it, then this is kind of, you know, I'm not being used. So that's not, I'll save it for something where I can use more of the bird. Okay, let's see. Let's go back. I like this, so let's do this one with the red. And this has, since the red also has some green in it, it'll look fine with these. Okay, I'm going to use these two. Okay. I'm going to put this one right here. And because I like that look, I'm going to go ahead and trim off a little bit here. Okay. And we're going to tear off. You probably know this, but the part that you pull towards you when you're tearing edges is the part that doesn't have white showing. The part you tore away from you is where the white shows. I usually like to tear the part I'm going to use towards me so it doesn't have the white. Okay. Get a this time I don't want to gunk up my thing, so I'm gonna okay. I'm gonna turn it towards me because I seem to be able to get it more even that way. Well, I forgot. I was going to ink this one too, and I forgot. So we're just going to not be inking the edges of the papers today, because how you do the first one is how you need to go on. At least that's how I feel about it. Okay, and then we're going to put this one right here. Oh, that's not the way I wanted to do it. Oh, shoot. That doesn't make me happy. Because it looks too much like this came off of that. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I already started that way. Okay. I'm going to put the number up at the top. And then I think I'm going to tear it right here. And put it on there. Okay. So here's this one. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue the sides together. Oops. Okay. And now we'll put the glue on this. The flap that's coming up is where I always put the glue, because then you know you don't take your glue up too high. And if you do it on the paper that you're gluing on to, then it might end up being too high. All right, here are a couple of different pockets. I like them. Let's see, I've got a tag here. These will hold a, you know, they'll hold a wider tag than this. So, alrighty, that was pretty fun. Two 3-tier pockets out of one envelope. That's a pretty good return on your money, huh? Oh, God bless you. Have a great day.